Some people are rich in money, but poor in peace. Others have almost nothing, but sleep better than CEOs. You've been told that the only way to live well is to get rich. But what if that's a lie? What if living with purpose is possible, even when your pockets are empty? This video is for you who work hard, count every dollar, and still feel like something's missing. Maybe you've never had savings. Maybe your job barely covers the rent. But deep inside, there's still a question that won't shut up. Is this really all life is? Aristotle, yes, that ancient Greek guy, believed that a good life doesn't start with money. It starts with meaning. He believed that even someone with very little can live with dignity, clarity, and fulfillment. Because money isn't the point. It's just one of the tools. And if that tool is used right, even in small amounts, it can change everything. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to shift your mindset, not your bank account. We'll explore how to give your money direction, how to find the kind of work that feels like you, and how to stop chasing empty goals that don't feed your soul. You don't need to be rich to live well. You just need to stop living like you're worthless. Let me show you how. There's something about being broke and exhausted that makes a man rethink everything. You wake up early, take a crowded bus, work 8 hours at a job you hate, and come home too tired to dream. And yet, the bills keep coming. That is when you start asking the kind of question Aristotle asked over 2,000 years ago. What is the purpose of all this? For him, money was never the end goal. It was a tool, nothing more. Just like a hammer builds a house, money was meant to build a life. Not just a paycheck-to-paycheck existence, but a life worth living. A life that feels right. In the modern world, we've glorified money as if it were the destination. But Aristotle, he saw it as the road. And that road was meant to take us somewhere deeper, to eudaimonia, human flourishing. Let me say this straight. Money isn't the enemy, but making it your master, that's where we get lost. Aristotle believed in living with telos, a sense of finality, of purpose. He asked, "What are you here for?" And if you're not asking that question, someone else is answering it for you. Your boss, your bills, the algorithm. Most people are too busy surviving to ask if their life has any real direction. That's the poverty no one talks about, the poverty of purpose. Sure, money buys food, rent, Wi-Fi. But what about dignity? What about meaning? What about waking up and knowing you're living, not just enduring? That is the kind of wealth Aristotle would be cared about, and that is the kind most people forget to chase. Now imagine this. 2 men. One earns 6 figures selling things he doesn't believe in. The other earns half, doing something that brings him peace. Who's richer? Aristotle would say, without blinking, the second one. Because wealth isn't just accumulation, it's alignment. Alignment with who you are, what you value, and what you contribute. The first man wakes up dreading Monday. The second? He wakes up tired, yes, but with a sense of meaning. That's eudaimonia. And no, it's not always easy. Purpose comes with sacrifice, but so does the paycheck you hate. So ask yourself, which kind of sacrifice builds you, and which one breaks you? Look around your neighborhood. People grinding 9 to 9, moms skipping meals so their kids can eat, men working 2 jobs and still behind on rent. Is that what money was meant for? Is that the dream? Aristotle would have wept. Because we've confused survival with success. True wealth, he argued, is not just about having enough, it's about becoming enough. You can have a full fridge and an empty soul. You can own the house and feel homeless inside. That's the kind of poverty our society never measures, but it's real. And unless we talk about it, we're going to keep feeding people paychecks while starving their purpose. Here's what most people don't realize. Money amplifies your life. It doesn't fix it. If you're lost, more money just gets you lost faster. Aristotle saw money like fire. In the right hands, it warms the house. In the wrong hands, it burns it down. That's why before chasing income, you need to understand outcome. What do you actually want your money to do for you? More clothes? More silence? More time with your kids? A break from stress? A second chance? Whatever it is, make that the target, not the money. Money should serve the dream, not be the dream. Otherwise, you'll spend your whole life climbing a ladder leaning against the wrong wall. So how do we shift? Start small. Start by asking questions most people are too tired to ask. Do I really need this job? Or am I afraid of starting over? Is this debt necessary? Or am I buying approval? Is this city draining me? Or am I convincing myself it's where I should be? Aristotle would tell you, courage is the first wealth. The courage to pause, the courage to realign, the courage to admit that maybe you've been living someone else's dream. That's not failure, that's awakening. And from that place, even $10 can become sacred. Because it's aligned. Because it's yours. Because it moves you closer to you. Let me give you a practical example. There was a janitor in Chicago who read philosophy on his breaks. When asked why he didn't switch jobs, he said, "I'm already rich. I get to think. I get to clean what others take for granted. And I sleep like a king." He died with a small fortune and donated it all to education. That man, he understood money. Not because he had a lot, but because he knew its place. He didn't let it define him. He made it serve him. That's the secret. You don't need to be rich to live well. You need to live well to become rich on your terms. And this is where it gets uncomfortable. Because living like this requires you to say no. No to hustle culture. No to jobs that pay well but kill your spirit. No to staying silent when your soul screams for change. But every no is also a yes. Yes to values. Yes to rest. Yes to becoming someone you respect. And when you walk through the world with that kind of integrity, money follows. Not always in heaps, but enough. Enough to live. Enough to give. Enough to stop pretending. And when you feel that deep breath after years of holding it in, that's what Aristotle called a good life. And yet, even when we start to understand all this, something inside us still whispers, "But what am I meant to do?" That's the next piece of the puzzle. And it's not about job titles or diplomas. It's about finding the unique virtue that already lives inside you. Because if money is a tool and the good life is the goal, then vocation is the bridge. Some people wake up already defeated, not because the world is against them, but because they're not where they belong. Aristotle called it arete, your unique excellence, the virtue that only you can embody. He believed that everything in nature has a function, a place where it thrives. A tree is not meant to swim. A fish is not meant to climb. And yet, how many of us are trying to be someone we're not? In a job we hate, pretending we're okay. You feel it in your bones. That quiet voice that says, "This isn't it." And the longer you ignore it, the louder the emptiness grows. That's not laziness. That's misalignment. And it eats away at your life, one dull day at a time. Let me ask you something honest. When was the last time you did something that felt like you? Not something you were told to do, not something that looked good on paper, but something that made you feel awake, alive, even if no one else understood it. That moment, that's the clue. That's your arete calling. Most people never answer. They're too busy paying rent, repaying debt, or chasing careers they never chose in the first place. But here's the thing. Vocation isn't luxury. It's survival. Emotional, spiritual, human survival. Because without it, you're just a machine wearing a smile, breaking slowly under the weight of someone else's expectations. You don't need a life coach to find your vocation. What you need is honesty. Raw, uncomfortable, sometimes painful honesty. What do you actually enjoy? What drains you? What would you do even if you weren't paid? Your answers are there, beneath the noise of survival. I've seen janitors who were born teachers, mechanics who are quiet philosophers, single moms who are natural leaders. But society doesn't always recognize that. It pays loud titles and ignores quiet greatness. That's why you need to look inward, not outward. Your vocation isn't found on job boards. It's found in moments, patterns, gut feelings, the work that feels like breath, not burden. Now, let's bring it down to earth. Start with a simple journal. Write down 3 things: what you're good at, what you love, and what the world needs. Find where they overlap. That's the spark. That's your direction. And don't worry if it doesn't look impressive yet. Vocation starts small. It starts with a side project, a conversation, a shift in energy. But here's the part nobody tells you. Following your vocation might hurt. You might lose approval. You might earn less at first. You might feel lost between letting go of the fake and waiting for the real. And that's okay. Pain is part of the realignment process. Like a bone that was set wrong. Sometimes you have to break it to heal it, right? Aristotle knew that virtue wasn't about comfort. It was about coherence. Living in a way where your actions reflect your essence. And when you finally step into that space, even briefly, the relief is overwhelming. It feels like coming home to yourself. A man once told me he worked in finance for 15 years before quitting to become a high school teacher. He said the first time a student thanked him, he cried. Not because he was weak, but because it was the first time his work felt real. That's the moment you realize, money without meaning is noise, but meaning, even in small doses, is music. And when you operate from your true place, you stop pretending. You stop defending your worth with numbers. You know who you are. And that kind of wealth can't be taxed, copied, or stolen. It lives in the way you show up, the peace in your chest, the clarity in your eyes. It's not just about what you do. It's about how you do it. A vocation isn't always about switching careers. Sometimes it's about changing the intention behind what you already do. A barista can serve with love or indifference. A driver can choose to protect or to rush. A mother can raise children with exhaustion or with presence. That shift, it's everything. It turns routine into ritual, chores into contribution, work into service. And that's when life starts responding. Opportunities find you. People notice. Doors open. Not because you're lucky, but because you're finally aligned. And alignment is magnetic. And if vocation is the bridge between purpose and prosperity, then the next question becomes urgent. Can I actually survive, thrive, doing what I love? That's the crossroads where many people freeze. They believe in purpose, but they fear the money won't follow. So the final piece is understanding how ethical profit works. Because yes, you can be paid for your virtue. You just need to learn how to turn meaning into impact, and impact into income. They told us money is neutral, that it's just a tool. But if that were true, why does it leave so many people feeling ashamed, guilty, or empty after they've earned it? Aristotle would say it's not just about having money, it's about how you make it. The method matters. The energy behind your income matters. You can't live a life of virtue if your profit comes from harm. That's the kind of contradiction that eats away at your soul in silence. You know it when you feel it. When you're reworking in a system that exploits others just to meet your own needs. It doesn't matter how much you earn. If you have to disconnect from yourself to keep earning, then your wealth is just dressed up poverty. We see this everywhere. Companies that sell lies with polished branding. Influencers who preach happiness while battling burnout. People working 80-hour weeks to build dreams they don't believe in. And the worst part? We applaud it. We call it grind. We label it success. But Aristotle warned us, wealth built without ethics is unstable. It collapses on itself. Maybe not right away, but eventually. A fortune made from deception brings spiritual bankruptcy. And the moment you start compromising your integrity, piece by piece, to reach a financial goal, you lose something you might never get back, your wholeness. And no paycheck can restore that. So what does ethical profit actually look like? It starts with alignment. Your values must lead your business, not the other way around. You don't have to be a monk. You can still want abundance, freedom, a better life. But the how matters. Selling something you believe in, providing real value, solving real problems, leaving people better than you found them, that's the baseline. Whether you're a street vendor or a CEO, if your work uplifts rather than manipulates, that is ethical wealth. It may grow slower, but it lasts longer. And most importantly, it lets you sleep at night. Peace of mind is the dividend of honest labor. Let's make it real. Imagine you're a mechanic. You can inflate prices and fix what isn't broken. Get rich faster. Or you can treat each car like it belongs to your mother. Fix only what's needed. Offer advice. Build trust. At first, maybe you lose some quick cash. But over time, people line up at your door. They tell friends. You become known. That's ethical profit in action. You're not just making money. You're building reputation capital. In Aristotle's terms, you're living a virtuous economic life. And yes, that still pays the bills. Sometimes, it pays even more than the shortcut you didn't take. Ethical profit also means being brave enough to say no. No to deals that don't sit right. No to clients who cross your boundaries. No to systems that reward exploitation. It's not easy, especially when money is tight. But every time you choose conscience over convenience, you invest in your future dignity. And let's be clear, this doesn't mean becoming perfect. It means becoming aware, checking your motives, taking responsibility for how your profit is made, and owning your impact, even the unintended ones. Because when your income and your integrity are in the same room, you don't need to fake confidence. You are confidence. And here is the shift most people never consider. You don't just work for money. Your money works for you. How you spend it, invest it, circulate it. That's part of your ethical footprint. Every dollar is a vote for the world you want to live in. Support local businesses. Buy from makers, not manipulators. Fund ideas you believe in. Save with intention. Invest in education, not just entertainment. Wealth isn't just what you accumulate. It's what you activate. It's what you allow to grow through your choices. Ethical profit doesn't stop at the paycheck. It flows into everything you touch. Some people say you can't be rich and good, that you have to choose. But that's a lie told by those who profit from your confusion. Aristotle would have disagreed completely. For him, virtue and prosperity were not enemies. They were partners when you led with character. You can earn well and live well, but only when your definition of well includes how you treat others, yourself, and the world. That's what changes everything. When your money reflects your essence, when your job mirrors your soul, that's when profit becomes sacred. And sacred profit doesn't just feed your family, it feeds your legacy. Because in the end, wealth is not what you leave in the bank, it's what you leave in people, in communities, in your children's eyes. That's the real inheritance. And once you taste that kind of wealth, it ruins you for the ordinary. It makes you allergic to exploitation, fake success, and empty hustle. You'll crave integrity like air, and you'll begin to wonder, if this is possible, why didn't anyone teach me this sooner? That's the question that opens the next door, because once you earn with ethics, you begin to ask how far your purpose can really go. So now you know, money isn't the enemy, but chasing it without direction, without purpose, that's what slowly kills your spirit. You don't need a fortune to live well. You need clarity. You need to know what matters to you, what lights you up, and what kind of work still feels right when no one's watching. That's what makes even a small paycheck feel like power. So let me ask you something real. What have you been tolerating just to survive? What would your life look like if your money actually respected your values? Are you spending your days earning or just enduring? You deserve more than exhaustion. You deserve more than silence. You deserve a life that feels like yours. and you don't have to wait until you're rich to start building it. If this video helped shift even one thought in your mind, don't keep it to yourself. Leave a comment. Tell me what spoke to you. Share this with someone who's tired of working without meaning. And most importantly, subscribe, because we're just getting started, and you don't want to miss what comes next.